Hey everyone. If you want visual proof that the southbound border traffic is down, this is the video you're going to want to see. Because you're about to watch a stark contrast between the traffic heading south and the traffic heading north. And once you see it, it's going to be pretty hard to ignore. And it actually put a smile on my face. Today, I have a few videos from a TikTok creator I featured before, PNW Brian Henderson. He lives in Whatcom County, Washington. And to be honest, if I was comfortable showing my identity, I would love to meet him at the Peace Arch crossing. Because his videos do a great job in showing what's actually happening there right now. What you see in his footage is exactly what many of us have been talking about. Less traffic going south and a different story heading north. After watching his videos, I felt pretty good about where things stand right now. I also wanted to go over a few key points from an article on Whatcom County, along with a global news report that includes updated travel data. And lastly, we have a travel data source that I never really thought about before, so I'll show that towards the end. Thank you again, Abby, for sending that over. You have no idea how much you've helped my channel and my research. Today's backdrop is a photo I took myself in the summer in Yaletown, Vancouver, not too far from where I used to live. I've mentioned this in past videos, but I really do miss living by the water. KL is nice, but it's inland, and I definitely miss walking around the Falls Creek seawall. Okay, let's get started.
Is something going on that I don't know about? Like, why is everybody going to Canada today?
You can see it's all clear. There's no exit checkpoint. It's backed up on the Canadian side going into the Canadian gate. On the American side, the coming in from Canada going to the American side, it's clear, you can see.
Maybe they're going Christmas shopping? You did get more bang for your buck up there. The Canadian dollar isn't worth as much as the American dollar.
You can see it's backed up. Dude, I had a heck of a time getting through there. What are you honking at, buddy? There's Blaine. Small town, stop honking at each other.
Now, if you're not from BC, I'll quickly explain what you're looking at here. This is the truck crossing in Blaine, and the cars you're seeing are heading into Canada. It's been a long time since I've actually had to wait in this line, because I have an Nexus car. But if you're sitting in your car and you're close to that intersection you see in the very far back, you're probably looking at least a 45-minute wait, maybe even close to an hour. It might even be more than that. I could be off a bit, so if anyone here from BC knows better, feel free to drop it in the comments. All I know is that I remember it was a long line. But earlier in the video, you can clearly see something else. Traffic going southbound into the United States is almost non-existent. And honestly, that made me really happy to see. Because this footage was taken over the weekend, when traffic into Washington State should normally be pretty busy. But it's just not there. The lineup is normally way past what you can actually see. All I know is that Blaine and Bellingham must be feeling it right now. I'll get into that more in a bit, and trust me, you're going to enjoy that part. Now in this next video from Brian, he moves over to the Peace Arch crossing. And this is the part where you really want to focus on. Pay close attention to the border gates heading south into the United States.
What the fuck is going on? Why is everybody fleeing the United States? You kind of get that feeling, you know what I mean? No traffic going into the United States. This is actually kind of silly. Look at that traffic going to Canada. When I first got here, it was actually kind of disconcerting. Like, I'm like, did Trump do something? Like, did they announce the purge or something? Like, I know he announced the Hunger Games the other day. That's U.S. Customs and Border Protection wanting to get back. They're just going into the customs office. That's how they get in. You can see they're buzzing themselves in. That's how they have to get in on a busy day like today. I kid, but, you know, they have a Maryland girl locked up in Louisiana at an ICE detention center right now who's an American citizen with an American birth certificate, and they have locked her up at an ICE detention facility anyway and said, oh, we don't believe you. They're locking up American citizens now.
That on its own is pretty scary. It's one thing to detain foreigners coming into your country, but I can't imagine holding a US passport, being legally allowed to be there, and still worrying about being detained because of your skin color. It honestly mind boggles me. But let me get back to what I want to show you in this clip. Take a look at the US border gates. What do you see? Nothing. No cars. Okay, maybe one or two, but that's about it. Before the orange guy days, this area would have been absolutely flooded, packed with cars lined up all the way up the hill. I never thought it would ever look like this. Honestly, I've seen more cars at the McDonald's drive-thru on Main and Terminal in Vancouver. And I can say that with confidence, because that's exactly where I used to end up after the nightclubs closed. Yeah, that was part of my young and dumb days. I definitely eat a lot better and healthier now, so don't worry. Now, this last clip from Brian shows the protest that was happening over the weekend. Honestly, you can't get any closer to the United States for a protest than this. This is literally right on the border.
So this spot right here that they're standing in front of is the actual border here. And she's actually standing in both countries there. These are the Peace, Love, and a Handshake folks. You can check out their Facebook group. And she posts all the stuff there. That's Heidi.
And I have a little something for you.
You do? Uh-oh.
Have a drink on me.
Thank you, Heidi.
You're welcome.
She comes bearing gifts. I want to say, Canadians are very welcoming. All I want for Christmas is the release of all the Epstein files. They've had live music, they've had donuts, Timbits and coffee from Tim Hortons, and some upwards almost 500 people. These are the hardcores. It's easy to protest in the summer when it's nice and beautiful out here. Why are so many Americans going to Canada today? It is the last weekend before Christmas. Just like airports get crowded, the border gets backed up where the traffic is going. And you can see these folks are coming into the United States.
Let me pause it here for a second. This is the hill I was talking about earlier. Normally when the border gates are busy, there'll be a light up at the top, and the cars would have to stop and wait. But look at it now. There's absolutely no cars, not a single one that is waiting. Again, this is something that definitely makes me smile.
But not backed up, is it? Going north into British Columbia, look at this. And it's like this at all the border crossings. Over there at the truck crossing, up there in Linden. And so, hello!
So what do I think when I see this? It's pretty simple. You can clearly see the lineup heading north. And every one of those cars coming into Canada is going to spend money. They're going to be spending at Canadian restaurants, shops, attractions, events, hotels, and other accommodations. All of that money stays in Canada. Now compare that with what you saw going south. More accurately, the lack of a lineup. That means no money flowing into Blaine, Bellingham, or anywhere else in the United States. We've heard this for months now. Dozens of reports, news anchors, and reporters saying that the border numbers are down from 15 to 25% from the US media, or closer to 30 to 40% from Canadian sources. Those numbers can be hard to picture. But this? It's a visual. This was filmed the weekend before Christmas, when both directions should normally be busy. And what we're seeing here tells me a lot more than listening to the mainstream media. Trust your eyes, everyone. Now continuing on with Whatcom County. City News recently ran a report showing how Bellingham is continuing to feel a pain from the lack of tourists. And after what we just saw with the empty southbound lanes, that doesn't surprise me at all. This report includes an interview with the CEO of the Bellingham Chamber of Commerce. That's someone I covered before in the past. And I'll be honest, I was highly critical of him. Because at the time, he blamed the drop in Canadians almost entirely on the exchange rate. I know you guys let him have it, because I know a lot of you actually told me that you emailed him. So he knows who I am. Let me remind everyone, if you didn't catch the earlier report, on exactly what he said.
It found 52%, more than half of the 60-some businesses surveyed reported. They've been impacted by a change or drop in cross-border travel. The majority shared they've lost business or seen increased costs.
The other really important component to this conversation is the exchange rate. I want to say that it was right about a 70 cents to the dollar, and we have always known that that is pretty close to the bottom of the exchange rate where it just doesn't make financial sense for Canadians to shop here. Much of the lack of business is self-determined by Canadians currently. They are choosing not to come down.
Now, like I mentioned earlier, I know a lot of you let him have it. Many of you sent him direct emails, telling him that his exchange rate excuse is full of shit. Some of you even CC'd me on those messages. I'm pretty sure none of us got a response back from him. But trust me, he definitely knows who I am. That said, at least in this article, it sounds like he's finally backing off the exchange rate argument, and he says he finally gets it now. He says he understands the hurt, the frustration, and why people aren't visiting. But at the same time, he also says his fellow citizens and local businesses are in panic mode. Well, Sorry, but that may be a conversation you should have with your own president. He then goes on to say that even if the tariffs were removed, he's not convinced the sentiment would immediately change, and that won't happen overnight, and that he expects to be in this position for a very long time. Well, I finally agree with you on something. Now, on a more positive note, he also says that there's no longer any plans to use any marketing campaigns to try and coax British Columbians back to Washington State. And honestly, maybe he watched my video where I told him and his Chamber of Commerce to shove their marketing campaigns where the sun don't shine. He then goes on to say that they value us being in the United States, spending our hard-earned dollars in the country, that our money is important to them. Holy, what did she feed you today? And that Canadian spending has been part of their history for generations. Okay, so what do I say to that? No. My money is hard-earned, and so is the money of millions of Canadians across the country. But this average Canadian you're listening to right now, with a very monotone voice, is not spending his hard-earned money in your county anymore. I used to spend thousands in your city, but that's done. And if I sound a bit fired up or more passionate in today's video, it's because I am. Blaine, Bellingham, and everything in between all the way down to Seattle. Those used to be my places I used to genuinely love visiting. Day trips and weekend trips. I even have viewers in Seattle who support this channel, and I've told them many times that I miss their city. I miss my go-to Ivers clam chowder. But I gave all that up the moment Trump said 51st state. Okay, maybe the second time. The first time I thought he was joking. So let me be clear. Guy from the Bellingham Chamber of Commerce. If you are watching this, I am your target audience. I'm exactly the type of person you're trying to get back into your country to spend money. I've been traveling to your city since 1997, sometimes monthly, sometimes even weekly. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not coming back. No amount of history, no nostalgia, no fun memories, no unique products I can't get in Canada. None of that will bring me back. I am speaking for myself right now, but I know I am also speaking for a lot of British Columbians. If you are from BC and you used to go to Bellingham like I did, let me know in the comments if I speak for you or not. Or, if you're a Canadian and used to cross into the US to your nearest border state, let me know if you agree with me on this as well. Now moving on, Global News has a report on the updated numbers. Let's take a look.
With Canada,
the insulting start to 2025,
what I'd like to see Canada become our 51st state,
has had a major impact on where Canadians vacation.
Everybody understands the situation and feels upset about it, but, you know, we all have to vote with our wallet.
Well, the votes are in, with new data from StatsCan showing Canadian return trips from the U.S. are down 26.3% year over year in October. And while Canadians are upset about Donald Trump's comments, there are other considerations.
They are angry. They do resent the scenario that's going on in the U.S. now, but couple that with the low dollar and you've got the perfect storm.
Another exchange rate guy. This time he's from a Canadian insurance company. Is anyone else getting really tired of hearing the exchange rate excuse? Because I am. If Trump never happened, I'm pretty sure I would have visited the United States multiple times, despite the exchange rate. So honestly, you can go screw off with your exchange rate excuse.
Another Canadian staying home? Doug Ford.
It's going to be the first time I'm not going to Florida.
That led Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to weigh in, saying they've been breaking tourism records, but not all governors have been as dismissive.
Because here in California, we've got plenty of sunshine and a whole lot of love for our neighbors up north.
California's seen a 19% drop in spending from Canadians, equaling nearly $1 billion, according to Visit California. Some of that money is being shifted overseas. Trips to Europe, specifically the UK and France, are up 10.5%, while Asian vacations are up nearly 15%.
This proves one thing very clearly, that we're not just sitting at home and we're not too broke to go travel, like some of the haters love to say. We're still traveling. We're just going elsewhere. Places that actually value our money. Not places where we're going to get interrogated at the border. Not places we're told by their citizens to stay home because they don't need us.
But there are some U.S. businesses Canadians can't stay away from.
Season pass sales are now on par with what we expect them to be. Vacations over the course of the winter are getting close to where we expect them to be.
Vermont ski resort Jay Peak is just a few kilometers from the Quebec border and for decades has been taking Canadian cash at par for lift tickets. Combine that goodwill gesture with some massive snow dumps, and their business is hanging in there, but they are hoping for a change in tone.
Long term, there's going to have to be bridge building done, certainly beyond the scope of some jackass at a ski resort.
Yep, you're definitely a jackass.
frankly. I can only do so much here.
Despite the terrible weather, many Canadians are also choosing to stay at home this year, with domestic travel up over 8%.
Yeah, well, there's a problem with the international clearance, yes.
Including from one very special guest.
The reindeer are used to the snow. That's not a problem for them. We get through it pretty easily.
Travel tenacity that's sure to carry through Christmas Eve.
I take that Jack has his comments with a grain of salt. He says they might be getting by. But let me ask you this. What does your gut tell you about the actual number of Canadians going to their ski resort right now? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, this last thing I want to talk about is a data point I never honestly thought of before. Whenever I travel, I sometimes buy a local SIM card or a global eSIM package. Because to be honest, Rogers roaming is ridiculously expensive. We all know that. But this article shows something interesting. It shows where consumers are actually buying eSIM cards. And that turns into a pretty good indicator of where people are choosing to travel and where they are not. So let's take a look at this chart. Canadians are spending more on SIM cards almost everywhere on the list, except for the United States, that's down 26%, and Italy, which is only down about 3%. But look at the rest of the countries. Japan and Thailand are both up by about 34%. France is up by 42%. To me, these numbers tell a very clear story. It's a strong indicator where Canadians are going and where they are not. If you want to read the full article, the link is in the description below. Okay, that's all I got for today's video. And I apologize if I got a bit fired up. Anytime I do a story on Bellingham or Washington State, it hits really close to home for me. And I know it does for a lot of British Columbians as well. If you're still here watching all the way to the end, I genuinely appreciate it. Your support means a lot, and watching to the end really does help the algorithm show the video to more like-minded people. Have a great rest of your day, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.